I got to be honest with you. I thought Kamala Harris, it was her finest speech, her finest hour yesterday after Liz Cheney took the stage. I disagree with Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney on probably 99% of policy. They're very conservative. However, I will always have respect for Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney because when the time came, they decided to endorse Kamala Harris and they care about our democracy. When the most important time, in my opinion, in Liz Cheney's political career, she did the right thing. And I will always have respect for her for doing so. And listen to Liz Cheney yesterday while endorsing Kamala Harris in her speech, which was also, in my opinion, a wonderful speech yesterday. Here's a little bit of what Liz Cheney had to say in regards to Donald Trump.
Donald Trump was willing to sacrifice our Capitol to allow law enforcement officers to be beaten and brutalized in his name and to violate the law and the Constitution in order to seize power for himself. I don't care if you are a Democrat or a Republican or an independent. That is depravity, and we must never become numb to it. Any person who would do these things can never be trusted with power again. We must defeat Donald Trump on November 5th. In that election 20 years ago, when we were campaigning in Wisconsin and all across the country, we were campaigning as compassionate conservatives. What January 6th shows us is that there is not an ounce of compassion in Donald Trump. He is petty, he is vindictive, and he is cruel. And Donald Trump is not fit to lead this good and great nation.
Amen. Amen, Liz. Amen. I second that. Wonderful speech. History is going to show that while I don't always agree and haven't always agreed for the most part with Liz Cheney and her policies, the way she votes, and quite frankly, her father, who I don't think was a very good vice president, I will always, and history will always remember them as being on the right side of history and doing the right thing when it mattered the most. And make no mistake about it, if Kamala Harris wins in November, in part, it's going to be because of people like Liz Cheney and her father, Dick Cheney. Say what you want about them. They have done the right thing. Kamala Harris, moments later, thanking Liz Cheney for the endorsement.
There are many who know it is wrong, and then there are those who have the courage to speak out loudly about it and the conviction to speak truth. And, you know, it is so admirable when anyone does it, and especially when it is difficult to do in an environment such as this. But Liz Cheney really is a leader who puts country above party and above self, a true patriot, and it is my profound honor to have your support. And I also want to thank your father, Vice President Dick Cheney, for his support and what he has done to serve our country.
Listen, this is unprecedented territory. You have a former vice president, a staunch Republican, who was supporting the Democrat Kamala Harris. It's a big deal. Now, how big of a difference will it make? I don't know, but I do believe it'll make a difference. Joe Biden was also asked about this, and here's exactly what Joe Biden said when right before getting on the plane. He was asked about Liz Cheney's endorsement of Kamala Harris. Here's what the president had to say about it.
I don't know whether you got to watch Liz Cheney. You get to watch her. Liz Cheney, you get to see her. He made one of the most consequential speeches I've ever heard. She has character. I know her dad and her dad as well. We argue like hell, but I always admired courage and honesty. What she did, not took only political courage, but physical courage. Physical courage it took to do. I've never been so proud. I really am. Really incredibly proud of her.
You know, listen to what the president said there. He's had yelling arguments with Dick Cheney about policy. They didn't see eye to eye on so many different issues. But so what? Because when push came to shove and your political career was on the line, particularly now talking about Liz Cheney, she chose the country over her party. And isn't that truly the definition of what a patriot is? Putting your own personal stuff aside and doing what you think is the right thing to do for the country. That's what Liz Cheney did. That's what a friend of mine, who I'm going to be hanging out with tonight, I believe, Joe Walsh, who's in Las Vegas tonight with Adam Kinzinger. Adam Kinzinger is going to be joining us later on the show. These are people that are willing to put their party behind the country. They are willing to put power and them remaining in power possibly. They're putting that aside for the benefit of the country. And I will always have the utmost respect for these kinds of people. And there are more, right? Troy, who used to work for Mike Pence, who spoke at the Democrat National Convention. Stephanie Grisham, another one, who spoke at the Democrat National Convention, Jeff Duncan, another one, whose own family was in jeopardy and their lives were in jeopardy because of Donald Trump and his rhetoric. These are people that have the courage to get up there on a stage at the Democrat National Convention, lifelong Republicans. That is not an easy thing to do, and Democrats should not be saying it is, because it's not. They could be in private with their families, and they could vote for Harris, and they don't have to tell anybody about it, but they went public with it. That takes some courage, and we have to admire that, ladies and gentlemen. We have to admire that. The Republican Party, you can have RFK Jr. and that moron. We've now learned that 3 more women have come forward saying that they've had affairs with him, allegedly, when he's been married. The serial cheater, the guy who beheads whales and puts it on top of his car, the guy who stages bear murders, the conspiracy theorist. You can have RFK Jr., that nutbag. Can you imagine if Trump wins and where he'd be appointed? Give me a break. It's a joke. So what was Donald Trump's reaction to all this? Very predictable. He was asked about Liz Cheney's endorsement, which is a big deal. Here's Donald Trump's reaction, and he was asked about it.
Kamala Harris is out on the campaign trail today with Liz Cheney. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Liz Cheney lost for Congress. She was terrible. Liz Cheney is a stupid war hawk. All she wants to do is shoot missiles at people. I really think it hurts. I think, frankly, I think they hurt each other. I think they're so bad, both of them.
A stupid war hawk. The types of words that are used by Donald Trump calling women stupid constantly. No, the stupid one is you, sir, quite frankly. Anybody is stupid if they don't support Donald Trump. If you're Jewish, you got to get your head examined if you don't vote for me. If you're Christian, you got to get your head examined if you don't vote for me. Anybody that doesn't support me and kiss my ring, you're stupid and you got to get your head examined, according to Donald J. Trump. Boy, that's a wonderful way to get people to start voting for you. Make no mistake about it. This endorsement means something. And to you MAGA deplorables out there, I will take Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. I will take the boss, Bruce Springsteen, and you could keep Ted Nugent and Kid Rock. You could keep that trailer trash. I'll take Eddie Vedder, the alternative rock legend, and give me the boss. And some dumbbell, I'm not even going to say his name, some right-wing moron who does a weekly podcast on Rumble with like 5 listeners, goes on Twitter and says, Bruce Springsteen has been writing songs and making money his entire career talking about Trump supporters. First of all, Bruce Springsteen has been writing songs since the 1960s. We didn't have a Donald Trump voter until 2016. That's how stupid some of these MAGA inbreds are.